5 minutes after 10, and this is LBC 97.3. Don't panic yet, okay? It's not national. It only currently affects 300 people in Kent. Eastern and Coastal Kent Primary Care Trust, to be precise, in conjunction with an organisation, a private company called Weight Wins, which runs incentive schemes for firms to persuade staff to lose weight. If successful, it is claimed, the scheme could be expanded across the country. What scheme, I hear you cry? Well, just wait and I'll tell you. A scheme to give people money via the NHS, therefore taxpayers' money, if they lose weight. Leaving aside for a moment how clearly this discriminates against people who are slender, because they have no option, if you like, to join in on this. You've got to be a major fat to qualify. It's no good if you're just a couple of pounds overweight. How do I know this? Well, because the rubric, the small print, is fairly specific. If you lose £15, how much is that? Is that more than a stone? £15. That's quite a lot, isn't it? How many bags of sugar is that? £15. If you lose £15, how many stones in a pound? 14? 14 stones in a pound? Any advance on 14? So that's just over a stone. If you lose just over a stone, you will receive 70 notes. 70 quid for losing £15. If you manage to shed, and you'd have to be a pretty lardy geezer to have this amount of spare luggage, if you manage to shed £30, guess how much you get for £30? You get another 265 quid. I tell a lie, no you don't, you only get another 90 quid. So the running total if you've shed £30 is £160. If you get rid of, I'm going to say quid for the money, otherwise it gets confusing, alright? I'm not indulging in the vernacular or endorsing the use of slang on LBC 97.3, but you could get a bit confused if I talk about losing £30 and getting £160. So I'm going to say quids for pounds, henceforth. If you manage to shed £15 of weight, you get 160 quid. Okay? If you manage to shed £50, £50? It's more than, that's practically 4 stone. If you manage to shed £50 of weight, under this scheme that's being rolled out in Kent, you will receive 425 knicker. I don't think I've used the word knicker since Minder was on the 425 spondulics. 425 big ones. 425 quid for losing £50. What a load of nonsense. Listen, I'm not at my fighting weight at the moment. I don't know about you. I'm carrying a little bit of extra luggage. I am a little bit over the... in fact, I'm way over. I reckon I probably could do with losing... If I lost £30, I'd be in peak condition, I think. I'm saying this quite, I think, modestly and honestly, expecting the colleagues in whose eye line I am to start shaking their heads vigorously. But Amanda, who's producing the programme today, has just sort of nodded quite sagely and with a very serious look on her face. So if my natural bonhomie and joie de vivre seeps out of my delivery over the course of the next 10 minutes, blame her. You're not supposed to nod. She said, I would have said £15. Is that supposed to make me feel better? OK, £15. So I would qualify for 70 quid. It ain't going to work, is it? I don't know whether it's because you need to have a sum of money on the table that is slightly mind-boggling. You need to be offered hundreds and thousands of pounds. If you offered me 10 grand to lose a stone, I'd have it off by the end of the weekend. Seriously. But I don't know, 70 quid to get £15 off? Let's examine this. I'm interested, and oddly, for this programme, where experience is generally considered more valuable than opinion, I am just interested in what you think of this story. Effectively, I'm interested in whether you think it will work. 400, bearing in mind at the moment that, of course, if you're dying and there are drugs available which could prolong your life, then under the auspices of many primary care trusts at the moment, you actually can't get them. You suffer the horror and indignity of knowing that if you lived, for example, in Scotland, you would be in receipt of drugs that would prolong your life, but where you live, you cannot get them on the NHS. What you can get instead, if you're a fatty, is £425 of taxpayers' money. Should we be spending NHS cash on a scheme like this? 0845 6060 973. And perhaps more importantly, do you think it will work? Do you actually think that a financial incentive could encourage you or a fatty, fatty, fat, fat of your acquaintance to shed a few pounds? In other words, will receiving money help you lose weight? I just want to know. And I suppose in order to, I was going to say put some flesh on the bones, but that's a slightly unfortunate turn of phrase. In order to examine this a little further, I'd like to know what it was for you that prompted you to take the plunge, as it were. Obesity's all over the news today. I've got to tell you, there's another story about a fireman who has lost his job on the grounds of failing to get fit. He was given a warning that he was too fat to be a fireman. He has now had his dismissal from his post confirmed after failing to get in shape. There's a story about 2-year-olds receiving NHS treatment. 2-year-olds receiving NHS treatment for obesity. It's a fatty, fatty, fat, fat fiesta. But we'll begin with the question of whether or not we think a cash incentive could get you into losing weight. 0845 6060 973. And on top of that, what was the thing for you that did work? I'll tell you what it is for me. Monday, my diet starts for the simple reason that my daughter, last week, while messing about in the sitting room, said, "I've got a big fat tummy just like Dad." And I thought at that point, something's got to give here. You know, I could end up being a big bloated radio host, and we've already got enough of them on this radio station. So something's got to give. What's it going to be? What was it for you? What was the straw that broke the camel's back in your health regime, in your weight-related issues? And do we think that £425 for losing £50 is either a good idea or likely to work? Phone lines are wide open. I've got a bunch of free lines now, which won't be the case for the duration of the next 3 hours, so be quick to grab one. Love to talk to you if you've never phoned a radio station before. Love to talk to you if you have. What you've got to do first, though, is ring this number. 0845 6060 973. Hit those numbers now, and you are almost guaranteed to get through. Will it work? Very simply, and what did work for you? We'll start off with Matt in Dartford. Matt, what would you like to say?